What is up, guys? My name is Alan, I'm back in the video today. I wanted to do a bit of a different video. I'm still working on my two longer videos that I'm currently working on, the Pokemon Black version Nuzlocke scripted video, and also the Pokemon Platinum YouTube Decides My Team playthrough. And so while I'm working on those, I thought I'd do a quick fun little video for you guys, revealing to you guys what is my favorite Pokemon of every type. So just a couple things. Each type is going to have 3 honorable mentions because, you know, way too many Pokemon for each type that I like. If Pokemon appears in one type, and it's dual type, it's not going to appear in the type of the other type. And also, I'm counting legendaries and ultra beasts. So if you don't like that, sorry, this is my video. These types are going to be also be in alphabetical order, so let's get started. My favorite bug type is Masquerain. Anyone out there who knows me personally, you probably knew this one. Now this kind of is weird because it also technically includes Surskit, its pre-evolved form, because they are my favorite Pokemon of all time. And they probably always will be. This is a big part of nostalgia, considering I had their Pokemon cards when I was a kid. But they've always been my favorite Pokemon, and whenever I play through them in a game, if they're available during the main story, I put them on my team. No questions asked, no ifs, ands, or buts, every single time. I'm actually currently playing through Ultra Moon for the first time, and I have one on my team there. I should also point out that I have an entire collection of every single printing of Surskit and Masquerain in the Pokemon TCG in their highest rarity, because I just love them that much. They are just that much my favorite Pokemon. My bug type honorable mentions are Vikavolt, Leavanny, and Genesect. My favorite dirt type is Bisharp. Now, if you don't know, I grew up with Gen 5. That was Pokemon Black was my first Pokemon game I ever owned and beat. And so I have a lot of fond memories of the Gen 5 Pokemon, with Bisharp always looking like one of the coolest. And I'm super happy that it got King Gambit in Scarlet and Violet. But I don't have enough of an opinion on King Gambit yet to put it on this list, even though I did use it in my playthrough of Violet. So, anyway, I've got more attachment to Bisharp is what I'm trying to say. Bisharp has always looked really cool. I love its battle cry, and I love how it can easily just absolutely wreck anything it comes across that it's even remotely strong against. Also, it's got a really cool shiny. My dark type honorable mentions are Meowscarada, Greninja, and Shiftry. My favorite dragon type is Hydreigon. Again, Gen 5, but I also remember very vividly going up against Gets's Hydreigon for the first time in Pokemon Black version, and it was scary, because that thing is extremely strong. And it's always been a cool, fearsome, scary dragon type that I always wanted to use on a playthrough, and I've never really gotten the chance to. Well, maybe with Scarlet and Violet I'll be able to, but because it evolves so late. But that's beside the point. My dragon type honorable mentions are Salamence, Rayquaza, and Haxorus. My favorite electric type is Zekrom. Zekrom has always been a really cool Pokemon, and I've always loved the two main dragon legendaries from Black and White because, again, I grew up with those games. And Zekrom is this really cool, big, scary-looking Pokemon with the electric generator as a tail, and that's always been really cool. Plus, he hits really hard as well. My electric honorable mentions are Electros, Electivire, and Galvantula. My favorite fairy type is Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing is actually what helped me get into Dynamaxing in the first place, because Gen 8, I wasn't too sure how much I was going to like all the Dynamax sprays and everything, but when you Dynamax Galarian Weezing, when you Dynamax any Pokemon, it makes their sound effect deeper and more reverberated to show off that they're getting really big, turning into a giant. And Galarian Weezing is so good that I absolutely love it. And I used it in my first playthrough of Pokemon Sword, and it was a vital member of my team, being both Fairy and Poison type, so it was good against a lot of the Pokemon I had to face during that playthrough. Also, I love that it's kind of the reverse of regular Weezing, and I also love its design. I love the idea of it being having the facial hair out of gas, and then the smokestack that's also, a top hat. I feel like I love that. I love that. So yeah, my fairy type honorable mentions are Florges, Togekiss, and Mawile. My favorite fighting type is Cobalion, and I know it's technically pronounced Cobalion, but I don't like that pronunciation. But still, this was my first legendary I ever caught, because I didn't know anything about where it was when I first played through Pokemon Black, because I didn't really have solid access to the internet. And it was always a cool legendary because it looked so regal and powerful, and I always loved this thing because of that. And it's also got a really good color scheme. My fighting type honorable mentions are Machamp, Conkeldurr, and Toxicroak. My favorite fire type is Cerulean Edge. The minute I saw this Pokemon while they were teasing Scarlet and Violet, I knew I had to play it. I knew I had to use it on my team. That is the main reason why I picked Violet over Scarlet. It's because Cerulean Edge is so incredibly cool. It's like, you know, like a purple Ghost Knight, and it's like that very shadowy, like, you know, evil looking purple. And then it has like laser sword gauntlets. Like, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. That is just badass, and you cannot convince me otherwise. My fire type honorable mentions are Volcarona, Reshiram, and Incineroar. My favorite flying type is Sigilyph. More Gen 5 stuff, obviously. But I love Sigilif's design. I think its battle cry is cool. I like how the shiny looks like it's like actually made of wood, because it's supposed to be like reminiscent of like a totem pole kind of thing. And it's a really strong, and it's also really strong as a fighter as well. It's also probably one of the stronger psychic types in Gen 5, which is pretty cool. My flying type honorable mentions are Tornadus, Hoot, and Tropius. My favorite ghost type is Chandelure. Kind of looking back now, I realized that my favorite fire type and my favorite ghost type are both fire and ghost, which is pretty funny. So I could have interchanged them and nothing would have changed. But yeah, it's Chandelure, because Chandelure's always been really cool. It's the strongest special attacker in all of Gen 5. It's got a really cool battle cry. Its shiny is awesome. And I've never actually used one in the playthrough. I need to change that, because Chandelure is awesome. My ghost type honorable mentions are Aegislash, Dhelmise, and Runerius. My favorite grass type is Serperior. Now, Snivy was my first ever Pokemon. I've always loved the grass type. I've always been partial to the grass starters, and Serperior is just so cool. It's a very cool grass snake, and I love its signature look of superiority. Insert the Chris Levy. But it's just been always such a cool Pokemon. Always been one of my favorites ever since. This is my first Pokemon, and it really helped me fall in love with Pokemon. Even though I technically had been into the franchise since Diamond and Pearl, I just never actually was able to start playing games until Gen 5. My grass type honorable mentions are Snover, Sceptile, and Torterra. My favorite ground type is Crocodile. Another Gen 5 one. I know, lots of Gen 5s on this list, but hey, I grew up a Gen 5 kid, so can you blame me? I don't think so. So yeah, Crocodile's always cool. I love how it's like, you know, very kind of Saturday morning cartoonish villainy kind of looking Pokemon. And it's always been really cool. I love how it looks like the Pokédex entry mentions that the membrane around its eyes looks like sunglasses, and then Ash has one in the anime that does have sunglasses, and there's the black glasses item you can put on it. It's just so cool. And it's really strong, too. It's not as strong as like Excadrill in that generation, but it was still pretty good. Speaking of which, my honorable mentions for ground type are Hippowdon, Mamoswine, and Excadrill. My favorite ice type is Cryogonal. Ice has always been one of my favorite types. I don't know why. I've always just liked the idea of the ice type. And Cryogonal is such a cool one because it wasn't something they had really done before. They hadn't really tried to make like a item Pokemon or object Pokemon for an ice type yet. And I like that. I like how it's like they made it look like it was just kind of like the mouth was kind of like separate, like detached, and you could like close it up and it would just be the full snowflake along with the eyes. I like that. I always like this design, and it's a really good special wall as well, so I'd say give it a try sometime. My ice type honorable mentions are Glaceon, Articuno, and Regice. My favorite normal type is Porygon. I've always been a fan of, you know, futuristic digital stuff, and that's literally what Porygon is. I like how, like, you look at it and you can't fully understand what you're looking at, and I like that. I like how it's just like it kind of looks like a bird, but also not at the same time. Like, you can kind of see the bird beak, but one of my friends actually said he doesn't see the bird beak at all, so I don't know, it's always been a cool Pokemon to me. And his evolutions are really cool as well. My normal type honorable mentions are Snorlax, Staraptor, and Ursaluna. My favorite poison type is Drapion. Now, Drapion's always been a super cool Pokemon ever since it first debuted in Diamond and Pearl. I love Drapion, and I've always wanted to use one on my team. I haven't yet, but I probably will eventually, because Drapion is really cool looking. And it's really strong too, only weak to ground. Plus, I like its shiny, even though its shiny's okay in my opinion compared to the other ones, but it's still got a decent shiny. My poison type honorable mentions are Whirlipede, Overqwil, and Bulbasaur. My favorite psychic type is Meloetta. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, I love just about everything about Meloetta. It's not quite my favorite like Masquerain level, but it's up there. Meloetta, not only is its design really good, I love the idea that it can flip-flop between two separate Pokemon, you know, two separate forms, just by using a move. And that other form is also really good. I'm really big into music, so I love the idea that it's a music-based Pokemon with the music measures as as her hair. I like that. I think that's really cool. Her battle cry is absolutely beautiful, and her shiny is really good. I just love everything about Meloetta. I keep calling Meloetta her, and I don't think it can have a gender, but I could be wrong. So yeah, Meloetta is my favorite psychic type. My psychic type honorable mentions are Beheeyem, Xatu, and Gardevoir. My favorite rock type is Aggron. I used an Aggron during my first ever playthrough of Emerald, and Aggron is just so cool. It's so cool. It's this big hulking dinosaur that, yeah, it has 2 quad weaknesses, but at the same time, anything that's not one of those quad weaknesses, it will just straight up tank so freaking hard. I remember going up against so many Pokemon in Emerald, and they would just do like barely 5 points of damage sometimes to this thing because of how high its defenses were and how good of a typing it was combined, despite those 2 quad weaknesses. My rock type honorable mentions are Caracosta, Archeops, and Gigalith. My favorite steel type is Ferrothorn. I've always loved the Ferocity line, and Ferrothorn has always been such a cool idea. Like, it hangs from the ceiling with its viney little pinecone looking things. And I love how you combine its ability of Iron Barbs. And I don't think any other Pokemon has had since, with a Rocky Helmet. And then anytime your opponent throws a physical damage, the physical attack at it, they just take like a full quarter of their health. It's so cool, and I love Ferrothorn so much. Steel type is actually my favorite type in general, which you might have noticed taking a look at this video. A good chunk of the Pokemon on this list were Steel type in some capacity, but Ferrothorn is my favorite of the Steel types. My Steel type honorable mentions are Klinklang, Celesteela, and Stakataka. Finally, we have Water type. My favorite Water type is Kyogre. I've always been kind of partial to the ocean, even just a little bit, and Kyogre just being this absolutely massive whale is just so cool, and I love the designs on his fins, and I love the designs on his back. He's just a really cool Pokemon. Definitely my favorite legendary out of all of them. My Water type honorable mentions are Lantern, Milotic, and Primarina. So what did you guys think of my favorite Pokemon of every type? Did you agree? Do you disagree? What Pokemon are your favorites of every type? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Yes, I did shamelessly rip this video idea off of MJ TV, but it's all in good fun. It just needs something quick and simple to put out while I'm working on my projects for this channel. And hopefully, once those are done, which will hopefully be soon, I should be able to get back to uploading regularly. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And make sure to ring that bell so you get notified when all my videos go up. Be sure to check out the Discord and Twitter down in the panels down below, as well as Twitch. And all that good stuff. And anyway, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody!